She posted, wondering if I should cheat since he did. For sympathy, I commented, never cheated. When her friends saw my proof she'd been lying about me to justify her affairs, the victim story collapsed. I, 31 male, discovered something that made me question everything about my 3-year relationship with Meredith. It started when her best friend Tanya sent me a screenshot 2 weeks ago. There was my girlfriend posting in some private women's support group about how she was considering revenge cheating because I'd supposedly been unfaithful with my coworker. The thing is, I've never cheated. Not once. Not even close. I work in IT support, mostly remote. The coworker she was referring to is Janine, who's 58, happily married with grandkids and lives 2 states away. We've met in person exactly twice at company conferences. But apparently, according to Meredith's post, I've been having this torrid affair for months. The post had over 200 comments. Women calling me trash, telling her she deserved better, encouraging her to get hers and not feel guilty about it. She was eating it up, responding to every comment with more lies about my supposed behavior. Late nights at the office, I work from home. Suspicious credit card charges for my nephew's birthday present, being protective of my phone because it has work data on it. Tanya sent it to me because she knew something was off. She'd been at our apartment plenty of times when I was supposedly out cheating. She knew I was home. She started connecting dots I hadn't even seen yet. Here's where it gets worse. Tanya did some digging in that group. This wasn't Meredith's first post about me. She'd been building this narrative for 8 months. Started small. I was emotionally distant, possibly talking to someone else. Then escalated to me definitely texting another woman. Then meeting up with her. Then full-blown affair. Meanwhile, in real life, we were planning a vacation. I was saving for an engagement ring. She was telling me she loved me every morning and every night. I sat on this information for 3 days, just processing. Then I made my move. Update 1, holy hell, this exploded in ways I didn't expect. So after sitting on Tanya's screenshots for a few days, I decided to do my own investigation. Meredith didn't know I knew about the group, and I wanted to understand what was really happening before I confronted her. I reached out to my phone company and got detailed records for the past year. Every text, every call, time-stamped and numbered. Then I pulled my work logs, every remote session, every ticket closed, every team meeting. Created a spreadsheet, cross-referencing her posts with my actual whereabouts. The nights she claimed I was with my mistress, I was either on my couch playing Xbox with my friends, who could verify through party chat logs, or literally sleeping. But here's where it got interesting. I noticed patterns in Meredith's posts. She'd post about my suspicious behavior on specific dates. I checked those dates against her own patterns. Every single time she posted about me cheating, she had been out with her book club, or at yoga retreats, or visiting her sick aunt. Her aunt lives 20 minutes away. I called her. She hadn't been sick, and Meredith hadn't visited in months. The book club? I messaged one of the members, Rachel, who I'm friendly with. There hasn't been a book club meeting in half a year. They disbanded because people got too busy. The yoga retreats? The studio she supposedly went to closed down during COVID and never reopened. So while she was crafting this elaborate fiction about my infidelity online, she was lying to me about where she was going. The projection was so obvious, it was almost funny. Almost. I compiled everything. Screenshots of her posts with timestamps, my phone records, my work logs, my Xbox achievements showing I was getting headshots in Call of Duty while supposedly cheating. Even had my buddy Derek send me clips from our recorded gameplay sessions with timestamps visible. Then I did something petty. I created my own account and joined the group. It was public, just set to private viewing. Anyone could join with a click. I waited for her next post. It came Thursday night. A long, emotional post about how she'd caught me texting someone and was at her breaking point. She was considering going through with revenge cheating with this guy from her gym who'd been flirting with her. 300 comments of support poured in within an hour. That's when I commented, "Interesting fiction, Meredith. I've never cheated on you, not once, here's proof." And I unleashed everything. The spreadsheet showing where I actually was during every supposed cheating incident. The phone records showing zero communication with any woman besides her, my mom, and work-related emails to Janine, all about server maintenance and password resets. Screenshots of my Xbox achievements. Even a photo of the engagement ring receipt from 2 months ago, which I'd been hiding in my desk drawer. Then I added, "But since you brought up the gym guy, maybe you should explain where you really were during those book clubs and yoga retreats. Your aunt says hi, by the way. She's feeling much better since she was never actually sick." The comment section went nuclear. Update 2. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Within minutes of my comment, Meredith called me. Not texted. Called. Screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. How dare I invade her privacy? How dare I embarrass her? How dare I contact her aunt? I stayed calm, told her I knew about Greg from the gym. Yeah, I knew his name because she'd slipped up once and mentioned him, then quickly corrected herself. I'd noted it but hadn't thought much of it at the time. She went quiet. Then came the tears. "It's not what you think, and I can explain," and those posts were just venting. I told her I was done talking and hung up. Then I texted her, "You have 48 hours to get your stuff out of the apartment. I'll be staying at Derek's. Leave your tea on the counter." But Meredith wasn't done. Oh, no, she went into full damage control mode. First, she made a follow-up post in the group. Claimed I was an abusive manipulator who'd hacked her accounts, that the evidence was fake, that I was trying to gaslight her. Some people bought it. But Tanya, bless her, had been screenshotting everything for months. She started posting those screenshots in the comments. Conversations where Meredith admitted she was lying, where she laughed about how gullible the group was, where she straight up said she was seeing Greg but wanted sympathy for when things went south. The group admin got involved, started fact-checking, asked Meredith for proof of my cheating. She couldn't provide any because it didn't exist. Then something amazing happened. Another woman in the group recognized Greg's name. Turns out, Greg has a fiancée. Had one the entire time he was hooking up with Meredith at the gym. This woman knew the fiancée and immediately sent her everything. Within 24 hours, Meredith had been banned from the support group, lost most of her friends who were in that group, been exposed to Greg's fiancée, lost her apartment, it's my name on the lease. Lost the relationship with the one person who was actually faithful. But she wasn't done with the entitlement yet. She showed up at my work. Security footage caught everything, thank God for cameras. She marched in, found my desk, and started loudly announcing that I was a cheater and abuser, that I'd ruined her life, that I owed her money for emotional damage. My boss, who's a legend, calmly walked over and said, "Ma'am, I've seen the posts. Everyone here has. We know exactly who was cheating. Please leave before I call the police." She threw my coffee mug at the wall and stormed out. I filed a police report for harassment and property damage. It was my favorite mug. Then came the flying monkeys. Her mom, who she'd been feeding lies to for months, called me every name in the book. Her sister posted on social media about how I was trash for abandoning Meredith in her time of need. Her friends who weren't in the group started blowing up my phone. So I made a public post. One single post on my social media with everything. Every screenshot, every lie, every timestamp. The engagement ring receipt with the date showing I was planning to propose while she was spinning tales about my fictional affairs. The title? The Truth About Meredith and Me. The response was immediate. Her mom called back, crying, apologizing. Her sister deleted her posts. Her friends went silent. Update 3, I thought it was over. I was wrong. Meredith escalated in ways I didn't see coming. Since she couldn't play victim anymore, she decided to go scorched earth. First, she tried to get me fired. Called my company's HR with a fake complaint about sexual harassment. Said I'd been sending inappropriate messages to female coworkers. HR investigated, of course. But remember Janine, my 58-year-old coworker? She went to bat for me hard. Showed all our correspondence. Years of completely professional exchanges about server maintenance and IT tickets. Other female coworkers came forward too, saying I'd never been anything but professional. HR concluded the complaint was fraudulent and actually sent Meredith a cease and desist letter. Then she went after my finances. Tried to claim I owed her half of everything, because we'd been together 3 years and she'd contributed to the household. Her contribution? She paid for groceries sometimes and bought decorative pillows. I paid rent, utilities, internet, streaming services, and most of our dates. I had 3 years of bank statements to prove it. She actually got a lawyer. This dude called me talking about common law marriage and equitable distribution. I laughed and reminded him we don't live in a common law state. He hung up pretty quick after that. But the craziest part? She started dating Greg officially. Posted photos on Instagram of them together, tagged at the gym, at restaurants, looking all coupley. His ex-fiancée commented on every single photo. This is the man who cheated on me with her while she was cheating on her boyfriend. Enjoy. Greg lasted exactly 1 week before he blocked Meredith and went running back to his ex. She didn't take him back. Then Meredith tried one last manipulation. She claimed she was pregnant, posted ultrasound photos on Facebook with some caption about starting fresh and blessing from a curse. Problem was, she stole the ultrasound images from Google. A reverse image search took 2 seconds. When people called her out, she deleted everything and went private. But Tanya kept me informed. Meredith was spiraling. She'd lost her job, apparently showing up drunk to work after Greg dumped her was the last straw. She'd moved back in with her parents. She was banned from the gym where Greg worked as a trainer. Then last week, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Meredith's mom. I'm sorry for everything. We didn't know. She's getting help now. Professional help. I found journals where she admitted to everything. The cheating, the lies, all of it. You're a good man. You deserved better." I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. Final update. It's been 2 months since everything went down and I finally feel ready to close this chapter. I kept the apartment, redecorated everything, got rid of anything that reminded me of her. Even got a new coffee mug, REP to the original. Tanya and I stayed friends. She actually introduced me to her cousin Lauren. We're taking things slow, but she's amazing. Honest, funny, and get this, she thinks it's hilarious that I got achievements in Call of Duty while my ex was crafting elaborate cheating fantasies. She actually asked to see the spreadsheet I made and called it the most beautifully petty thing she's ever seen. Meredith tried reaching out one more time last week. A long email about how sorry she was, how the attention from the group made her feel special, how she got addicted to the sympathy, and just kept escalating the lies. She admitted to cheating with Greg and 2 other guys from the gym. She said she projected her guilt onto me because it was easier than facing what she was doing. She ended with asking if we could try again. I forwarded the email to her mom with just one line, "She might need more therapy." Then I blocked the email address and moved on. The support group, by the way. It reformed with new moderators and a verification system. Tanya's one of the mods now. They require proof for any claims of abuse or cheating. It's actually become a genuine support space instead of an echo chamber for fiction writers. As for the engagement ring, I returned it and used the money for an epic gaming setup. Best decision ever. Looking back, the red flags were there. The constant need for attention on social media. The way she'd twist small arguments to make herself the victim. How she'd have mysterious errands, but get upset if I didn't tell her exactly where I was every second. But I learned something valuable. When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them. Don't wait for them to spell it out in a Facebook support group. Also, always keep your receipts. Literal and metaphorical. And Meredith, if you're reading this, and knowing you, you probably are, Greg's engaged again, to someone else. Saw it on Instagram. She seems nice. Maybe don't try to steal this one's man while claiming yours is cheating. Actually, scratch that. Just stay in therapy. Peace out. She said, "Your feelings aren't facts." So I built an AI replica of her personality, fed it our entire relationship history, and let it break up with her on my behalf. She's still arguing with the chatbot. I, 29 male, just ended my 3-year relationship with Sloan, 28, in probably the weirdest way possible. But honestly, after years of being told my emotions don't matter, I figured she'd appreciate the logic of it all. Quick background. Sloan's a data analyst who treats everything like a spreadsheet. Every argument we've ever had ends with her saying, "Your feelings aren't facts," or That's just your perception, not reality. She literally keeps a shared Google Doc of our relationship metrics, where she tracks everything from how often we have sex to how many minutes I'm late to things. The breaking point came last month. My dad had a mild heart attack. I was obviously freaked out, spent the night at the hospital. When I texted Sloan that I needed some emotional support, she responded with a link to a study about heart attack survival rates and said, "Statistically, he'll be fine, no need to catastrophize." When I got home the next morning, exhausted and scared, she presented me with a PowerPoint about managing medical anxiety through data, complete with graphs. I sat there, watching her click through slides about optimizing hospital visit frequency and cost-benefit analysis of emotional investment, and something just broke. My dad could have died, and she made a pie chart about it. She concluded with, "See, when you look at the facts, there's no logical reason to be upset." That's when I knew I was done. But here's the thing, every time I've tried to break up with her before, she just debates me out of it. Brings up sunk cost fallacy, shows me relationship success statistics, literally pulled out a decision matrix once, and somehow I always ended up staying. The last time I tried, she created a 40-slide presentation called Why We're Statistically Compatible, complete with scatter plots of our shared interests and a regression analysis of our future earning potential. I sat through 2 hours of this. By the end, I was so mentally exhausted, I just gave up. So I did something petty? Maybe brilliant. Definitely weird. I spent 2 weeks creating an AI chatbot trained on 3 years of our text messages, emails, and that psychotic relationship Google Doc. Fed it her speech patterns, her favorite debate tactics, her go-to phrases, even uploaded her Myers-Briggs results and that personality test she made me take last year. I used one of those AI platforms where you can create custom bots. Nothing fancy, I'm not a programmer. Just uploaded our chat logs, tweaked the personality settings to match her communication style, and programmed it with one core directive. This relationship is over. Explain why using her own logic. Then I programmed it to break up with her, using her own logic. With citations. Last Tuesday, I sent her a link and said, "Someone wants to talk to you about us." Then I blocked her on everything and went to stay with my sister. According to my roommate Qley, she's been at it for 5 days, still arguing with the bot, still trying to win. Update 1, holy hell, the entitlement is off the charts. So Qley sent me screenshots of Sloan's Instagram stories. She's been posting about her debate with a weak AI and how she's exposing the flaws in machine learning. She hasn't told anyone it's supposed to be her or that I made it. She's treating it like some sort of intellectual exercise. But here's where it gets wild. She showed up at my sister Nora's apartment yesterday. With printed transcripts. Like 47 pages of her conversations with the bot, annotated with different colored highlighters. Nora recorded the doorbell cam footage. Some highlights. "I need him to fix the algorithm. It's clearly biased against rational discourse. This is intellectual property theft. He trained it on my words without permission. I've identified 17 logical fallacies in its argument structure." She stood there for 20 minutes explaining why the bot was wrong about our relationship being over. To my sister, who wasn't even opening the door. The best part? The bot is apparently doing exactly what I programmed it to do, responding to every emotional plea with, "Your feelings aren't facts," and asking for quantifiable evidence that the relationship should continue. Qley says she's been at her laptop for hours each day. She created a spreadsheet tracking the bot's responses, looking for patterns to hack it. She still hasn't figured out that it's not about winning the argument. Update 2. The entitlement has reached new heights, and I'm genuinely impressed by her commitment to missing the point. So, Sloan started a blog. A whole blog called Defeating Digital Discourse, a case study in AI argument analysis. She's been posting daily breakdowns of her conversations with the bot, treating it like some academic exercise. But here's where it gets absolutely unhinged. She's been contacting AI researchers on LinkedIn, asking them to peer review her findings about the bot's flawed logic. She's already got 3 people engaged in email threads about the theoretical framework of AI decision-making in relationship contexts. One researcher actually reached out to me because she found my LinkedIn through reverse searching some phrases the bot uses. Dr. Keating was like, "Is this your ex? Because this is hilarious and I'm using it in my next conference talk about human-AI interaction." But the real kicker came yesterday. Sloan hired a programmer. Hired. With actual money. This dude, Garrett, messaged me on Discord, found me through my GitHub, asking for the bot's source code because Sloan wants him to build a counterbot to debate my bot. I told him the truth. He asked if he could still take her money. I said go for it. Meanwhile, she's been telling people we're on a break while she solves this puzzle. Her coworker DM'd me asking if I was really making my girlfriend debate a computer to get back together. She's spinning this like it's some elaborate test I set up. Oh, and she started a YouTube channel. Logic versus Love, a digital dialogue. She live streams her arguments with the bot. She has 847 subscribers. The comment section is brutal. People are literally making popcorn emojis and taking bets on how long before she realizes what's happening. My favorite comment: "This is like watching someone play chess against a mirror and blame the mirror for copying their moves." She monetized the channel. She's making $3.5 a month from ads on videos of her arguing with her own personality. The bot, by the way, has been consistently telling her the relationship ended because emotional needs weren't being met. No amount of data can change that decision. Her inability to accept the breakup proves the point. Feelings are, in fact, valid even if they're not quantifiable. She's responded to each point with academic papers. The bot now has a bibliography. But here's the thing that actually got to me. Kai overheard her on a phone call with her mom saying, "I just need to solve this and then everything will go back to normal." Her mom apparently asked, "What if there's nothing to solve? What if he just doesn't want to be with you?" Sloan hung up on her. Update 3. So Sloan's complete refusal to accept reality just cost her basically everything. Remember that blog she started? Well, it went viral on academic Twitter, but not in the way she wanted. Someone figured out that the AI she was debating was literally quoting her own words back at her. The thread breaking it down has 45K retweets. Choice comment: "This woman is literally arguing with herself and losing." Her employer found it. Turns out writing 3,000-word analyses of your breakup during work hours on your work laptop using company software to make graphs. Not great for job security. They didn't fire her, but she got demoted from senior analyst to junior. Her new boss is 24. The YouTube channel got demonetized after someone reported it for misleading content. She appealed it 17 times. But wait, there's more. Garrett, the programmer she hired, felt bad and sent me the counterbot she commissioned. This woman paid $2,000 for an AI designed to defeat my bot. Its entire strategy? Gaslighting. She literally programmed it to tell the original bot its feelings weren't valid. So now there are two bots having an endless loop argument while she takes notes. Garrett says she messages him daily with optimization suggestions. She tried to patent the conversation method. I'm not kidding. She filed for a patent on autonomous digital discourse resolution systems. The patent office rejected it with a note that said, "You cannot patent an argument." The worst part? Her friends staged an intervention. Her roommate Yara reached out to me because they're genuinely concerned. Apparently Sloan hasn't been sleeping, barely eating, just debating these bots and writing her academic papers. During the intervention, they tried to explain that she's literally arguing with herself. Her response? She created a PowerPoint about how they were committing an appeal to emotion fallacy and couldn't see the bigger picture of her groundbreaking research. Her friend Bianca recorded part of it. Sloan actually said, "You're all too emotionally invested to see that I'm pioneering a new form of conflict resolution. When I crack this code, it'll revolutionize how we end relationships." Sloan, he already ended the relationship a month ago. That's just one interpretation of the data. She's now lost her promotion at work, about $3,500, programmer, blog hosting, research materials. 3 friendships, they couldn't deal anymore. Her roommate, Yara's moving out. 40 pounds, stress, not eating. Her therapist quit after Sloan tried to debate her diagnosis. Her gym membership, forgot to go for 2 months arguing with bots. Her spot in a prestigious data science conference, they withdrew her invitation after the Twitter thing. She pitched this as a TED Talk. They sent back a form rejection, and she still hasn't accepted the breakup. Yesterday, she sent out a mass email to our entire friend group with the subject line, "Seeking beta testers for relationship reconciliation algorithm." I'm told it included a 47-page PDF and a link to a survey where people could rate the bot's argument effectiveness. Nobody responded except her cousin, who just wrote back, "Sloan, please go outside." Final update. I genuinely didn't expect this ending, but here we are. Sloan's parents called me. Her dad called me. Dr. Morrison is a philosophy professor, and apparently the apple didn't fall far from the tree, but even he was concerned. They'd driven 12 hours after Yara contacted them about their daughter's academic spiral. Her mom, though? Her mom is a psychiatric nurse. She took one look at the situation and immediately recognized what was happening. Sloan wasn't just being stubborn, she was having a legitimate psychological break triggered by losing control of the narrative. They managed to get her to stop debating the bots by doing the one thing I never thought of. They agreed with her, told her she'd won, and the bots were clearly inferior to her intellect. It was the only way to break the loop. But here's the part that actually made me feel something. Her dad sent me Sloan's journals from college. She's been like this since she was young, turning every human interaction into data because emotions were too unpredictable. Apparently, her high school boyfriend broke up with her via email with bullet points, and she thought it was the most respectful way. She's in outpatient therapy now. Real therapy, not the kind where she tries to optimize her therapist like a database. Her mom updates me occasionally. Not because we're getting back together, we're definitely not, but because she wants me to know that Sloan is finally learning that feelings can be facts too. The bots? I shut them down last week. But according to Garrett, Sloan had already stopped responding to them. Her last message to the bot was just, "I can't quantify why this hurts." That's the closest to an admission of human emotion I've ever seen from her. As for me, I'm dating someone new. Becca's an art teacher who cries at dog videos and has never made a spreadsheet in her life. When I told her about the bot thing, she laughed for 10 minutes straight and then said, "That's the most beautifully petty thing I've ever heard." My dad fully recovered, by the way. Sloan never asked. Sometimes the best revenge isn't watching someone's life fall apart. Sometimes it's forcing them to confront the reality they've been avoiding, even if it takes 2 AI chatbots and a complete mental breakdown to get there. To everyone saying I went too far, maybe. But after 3 years of being told my feelings weren't real, I gave her exactly what she always wanted. Pure logic, no emotions, just data. The fact that she couldn't handle her own medicine? That's her data point to analyze. Edit. Since everyone's asking, yes, the bot's code is on GitHub now, with all personal data removed. It's become a weird case study in the AI ethics community. Dr. Teeting actually invited me to speak at her conference about human-AI interaction in emotional contexts. I'm going. Becca thinks it's hilarious that I'm now accidentally an expert on AI breakups. Edit 2. Garrett started a company building argument bots for people who want to practice debates. He offered me equity. I declined, but wished him luck. Last I heard, he has venture funding. Only in Silicon Valley would teaching bots to argue be a business model. My girlfriend said, "Ugh, why are you so clingy? I need space to breathe." After I suggested we spend more quality time together, I said, "Breathe easy." Then I gave her so much space, she suffocated. When she realized what she'd lost in all that space, I, 28 male, have been with Jenna, 26, for about 2 years. We'd been living together for the last 8 months in my condo downtown. Things were good, or so I thought. 3 weeks ago, I suggested we have a weekly date night. Nothing crazy, just one evening where we put our phones away and actually connect. Maybe cook together, watch a movie, play board games. You know, couple stuff. Her response? She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd fall out. "Ugh, why are you so clingy? I need space to breathe. You're suffocating me with all this quality time nonsense." I'd suggested 1 night a week. 1. "We live together," she continued. "Isn't that enough? God, you're like those needy guys from dating apps who text good morning every day." For context, Jenna works in marketing for a startup. She's always on her phone, always networking, always at some event or happy hour. I work as a software developer, mostly remote. Yeah, I'm home more. But clingy? For wanting to spend time with my girlfriend? Okay, I said. Breathe easy. She looked surprised at my calm response but quickly went back to scrolling Instagram. That night, I made a decision. She wanted space. I'd give her exactly what she asked for. Update 1. So I've been giving Jenna all the space she wanted. Here's what that looks like. Stopped asking about her day when she gets home. No more good morning, good night kisses. Apparently that's clingy. Stopped cooking dinner for 2. Just make my own meal. Declined her friend Tori's party invite. You don't need to come to everything with me. Set up my gaming setup in the spare bedroom. Started going to the gym at 6 a.m. instead of evenings when she's home. At first, she seemed thrilled. See? This is perfect. We can be independent people who happen to live together. But then Thursday happened. She came home around 10 p.m. from another networking event. I was in the spare room playing Baldur's Gate 3 with my headset on. She knocked on the door. Hey, wanna watch that new Netflix show? Oh, I already started it. Figured you needed space, so I didn't wait. Her face did this weird twitch thing. You watched our show without me? It's not our show. That would be codependent, right? She stomped off. 20 minutes later, I heard her on the phone with her friend. He's being so weird and distant. I just asked for a little breathing room and now he's acting like I don't exist. Lady, you literally said I was suffocating you. Friday morning, she tried to initiate sex. I politely declined. Don't want to be clingy, I said, getting dressed for the gym. The look on her face? Priceless. Update 2. Things have escalated in the most predictable yet hilarious way. Jenna's now complaining that I'm emotionally unavailable and playing games. This from the woman who said I was suffocating her by suggesting weekly date nights. Some highlights from this week. Monday, she accidentally used my expensive coffee beans, the ones I special order, after I specifically started labeling my food. When I didn't react, she used more the next day. Tuesday, suddenly needed my help with her laptop at 11 p.m. It's not working. The power cord wasn't plugged in. When I pointed this out and went back to my room, she accused me of being condescending. Wednesday, her car needed gas. She's been hinting heavily that I should fill it up because that's what boyfriends do. I reminded her that independent people handle their own gas tanks. Thursday, the kicker. She invited her coworker Brad over for dinner. Brad, the one who's been just a friend but comments fire emojis on all her Instagram posts. They cooked together in our kitchen while I meal prepped my lunches for the week. The amount of giggling and accidental touching was nauseating. Clear attempt to make me jealous. Join us, she called out. Brad made his famous pasta. Thanks, but I'm good. Enjoy your space. Brad looked uncomfortable. Jenna looked furious. After he left, she confronted me. What is your problem? You've been acting like a roommate, not a boyfriend. I'm giving you the space you asked for. Independent people who happen to live together, remember? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? She couldn't answer. Just huffed and went to bed. But here's where it gets interesting. I overheard her on the phone with her mom yesterday. He pays for everything, Mom. The mortgage, utilities, groceries. I've been saving so much money living here. No, I don't contribute. Because he never asked. What do you mean that's not fair? Oh, Jenna. Sweet, entitled Jenna. The wheels are turning, aren't they? Update 3. This week, Jenna went nuclear. Saturday, she staged an intervention with her friends at our condo. I came home from rock climbing to find Tori, Madison, and Becca sitting in my living room like some budget version of The View. We need to talk about your behavior? Tori started. My behavior? I set down my gym bag. In my own home? See? This energy right here, Madison chimed in. Jenna feels like she's walking on eggshells. Jenna asked for space. I gave her space. Now she's upset about having space. I'm confused about what she actually wants. Becca, credit where it's due, actually looked thoughtful. Jenna, didn't you tell us he was being too clingy? That's not the point. Jenna snapped. I excused myself to shower. When I came back, they were gone. But Jenna was rage cleaning the kitchen. Your friends seem nice, I said, grabbing a protein shake. She slammed a cabinet. You embarrassed me. By existing in my own home? That night, she did something that crossed a line. She changed her relationship status on Facebook to "It's complicated." and made a post about when you realize your worth and refuse to settle for less than you deserve. The comments were exactly what you'd expect. You go girl. Know your value, queen. He doesn't deserve you. My buddy Jake screenshotted it and sent it to me. Bro, what's going on? That's when I made my decision. If she wants to be single so badly, I could help with that. Sunday morning I woke up early and did some math. Over the last 8 months, rent, she doesn't pay. $1,600 a month equals $1,200. Utilities, she doesn't pay. $200 a month equals $1,600. Groceries, she barely contributes. Tours $400 per month equals $3,200. Dinners out, I always paid. $300 a month, $2,400. Total, $20,000. $20,000. I texted my landlord buddy about his vacant studio apartment. Available immediately, perfect. Then I went grocery shopping. For one. Update 4 Monday started with Jenna having a meltdown because I didn't buy her favorite oat milk. You always get it. I bought groceries for myself. Independent people buy their own groceries. This is insane. You're being petty and childish. I'm being exactly what you asked for. Less clingy, more independent. You have Venmo, right? Tuesday, she tried a different approach. Came home wearing the dress I once said looked amazing on her. Suggested we go to our restaurant. I have plans, I said, which was true. I was meeting Jake to look at apartments. With who? Does it matter? You need space, remember? She spent the entire night slamming doors and cabinets. Real mature. Wednesday was when reality started hitting. Her car registration was due. She'd been counting on me handling it like I did last year. The registration is due Friday, she mentioned casually over her breakfast that she bought. Better get on that then. But you usually, independent people handle their own car registration, Jenna. Her face went red. Fine, I'll do it myself. Spoiler, she didn't know how. I overheard her calling her dad, frustrated, trying to figure out what forms she needed. But Thursday was beautiful. Brad texted her about grabbing drinks after work. She made sure to mention it loudly while I was making dinner. Have fun, I said, not looking up from my stir-fry. You don't care that I'm going out with Brad? Why would I? You're an independent woman who needs space. Brad seems nice. She stared at me for a full minute before storming out. She came home at 2 a.m., drunk, crying. Apparently, Brad thought they were on a date. When she told him she had a boyfriend, he said, "Really? Because Jenna, all you do is complain about him. You changed your relationship status. You invited me to dinner at your place. What was I supposed to think?" She tried to crawl into bed with me. I gently suggested she might be more comfortable in the spare room since she needed space to breathe. The wail that came out of her mouth probably woke the neighbors. Update 5. Friday morning, Jenna was waiting for me in the kitchen with coffee. My coffee, that she made with my expensive beans. We need to talk. Sure. I sat down, genuinely curious where this would go. I've been thinking, maybe I overreacted about the clingy thing. You're not that clingy. Can we just go back to normal? What's normal, Jenna? You know, how things were. When I paid for everything, did all the household planning, and you complained I was suffocating you. She flinched. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? I was stressed with work, and you took it out on me, called me clingy for wanting to spend time with you. Made me feel like I was asking for too much by suggesting one date night a week. Tears started. I'm sorry, okay? I messed up. Can we please just move past this? Actually, I've been thinking too. And you're right, we both need space, so I'm moving out. The tears stopped. What? I found a great studio, moving next weekend. You can take over the lease here if you want. Rent $1,600 plus utilities. Her face went white. I can't afford that. Sure you can. You've been saving money for 8 months. No rent, no utilities, barely any groceries. You can't just leave. Why not? You're an independent woman who needs space. I'm giving you all the space you need. This isn't what I wanted. Then what did you want, Jenna? And there it was. The truth she couldn't admit. She wanted me to pay for everything while she lived her best life. She wanted the security of a relationship without any of the emotional investment. She wanted a sponsor, not a partner. She started, then stopped. You're really leaving? Next Saturday. The rest of the day was a series of increasingly desperate texts. Please reconsider. We can work this out. I'll go to couples therapy. You're throwing away 2 years. This is so sudden. You lived here first. That last one made me laugh. Yeah, I did live here first, and I'll keep living here. Just alone. Final update, Saturday came faster than expected. I'd hired movers for the big stuff, but I was packing boxes when Jenna made her last stand. She'd called in reinforcements, her mom. You're going to regret this, her mom said, watching me tape up a box. Jenna's a catch. Do you know how many men would love to be in your position? Then she should have no problem finding one of them to split rent with. Jenna was crying on the couch. Not the manipulative tears from before. Real ones. I don't understand how we got here. I stopped packing. You want to know how we got here? You called me clingy for wanting to spend time with you. You made me feel like my basic relationship needs were too much. And when I gave you what you asked for, you got angry. You can't have it both ways, Jenna. But I love you. No, you love what I do for you. There's a difference. Her mom tried another angle. She's young. She made a mistake. Don't you think you're being a bit harsh? She's 26, not 16. And it wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. The relationship status change, inviting Brad over, the intervention with her friends, those weren't mistakes, those were choices. The movers arrived. As they loaded my furniture, Jenna made one last attempt. Please, I'll change. I'll pay half of everything. Al? Jenna, stop. You shouldn't have to change who you are, and neither should I. You want a relationship where you can come and go as you please, where you're not tied down, where you have maximum freedom and minimum responsibility. That's valid. But I want a partner, not a roommate with benefits. We're just not compatible. She watched from the window as I loaded the last box into my car. I left the keys on the counter, along with a note. Lease transfer paperwork is on the table. Landlord needs it by Monday. Good luck. Got a text that night. The apartment feels so empty. I didn't respond. She wanted space to breathe. Now she's got 900 square feet of it. Epilogue. 2 months later. Ran into Brad at a coffee shop last week. Awkward doesn't begin to cover it. Hey man, he said. Sorry about, no worries, you didn't do anything wrong. She still texts me sometimes, says she can't afford her place. Not your problem either. He laughed. Yeah, I figured that out. She asked if I wanted to be roommates. Split the rent. Let me guess? Split unevenly? 70-30. Because she'd be doing me a favor by letting me live in such a nice place. We both laughed. Turns out Jenna's been cycling through her male friends, looking for someone to subsidize her lifestyle. Tori and Madison apparently got tired of her complaining about money while refusing to get a second job or a cheaper apartment. As for me, my studio is small, but it's mine. I cook what I want when I want. I go to the gym without someone accusing me of avoiding them. I have game nights with friends without being called antisocial. And the best part? I met someone at rock climbing. Her name's Keiko. Know what she said when I suggested we have a weekly date night? Only once a week? I was hoping for twice. Funny how the right person makes you realize you were never asking for too much. You were just asking the wrong person. Jenna still posts those inspirational quotes about knowing your worth and never settling. Last I heard, she was subletting a room from some guy she met on Facebook Marketplace. Her Instagram stories are a lot less glamorous these days. Fewer bottomless brunches, more meal prep containers. She wanted space to breathe. She got it. Turns out space is expensive when you're paying for it yourself. Who knew? My girlfriend said, my ex needs a place. He's moving in with us. I just nodded, okay. Then I packed her bags, changed the locks, and texted her ex her new address, my curb. Suddenly, my phone was blowing up with her angry calls. I, 32M, still feel a knot in my stomach when I think about it. Last night, I was attempting a new pasta dish, already a bit stressed because I'm not exactly a chef. My girlfriend, Stephanie, 29F, waltzes in, phone pressed to her ear, giggling about something. She hangs up, beams at me, and then drops it, casually. Hey, she says, snagging an olive from the counter. So, Justin's having a bit of a nightmare. His new lease just imploded. Total disaster for him. Anyway, I told him he could crash here for a bit. Just a few weeks, maybe a month or two, till he sorts something. Justin, her ex, the one she was with for 3 years, the one whose name still popped up with uncomfortable regularity. My mind just stalled. That buffering icon? It was spinning overtime. I think I stopped stirring the sauce. For a good 30 seconds, the only sound was the simmering garlic. The word okay crawled out of my mouth. It sounded distant, even to me. I was aiming for calm, but I probably just looked stunned like a fish. Okay, Han? She actually clapped her hands. Oh, amazing. I knew you'd be cool about it. You're the best, Brandon. He's thinking of coming over tomorrow afternoon. She pecked me on the cheek and headed off for a shower, humming. The best? I felt like the world's biggest idiot. My hands were actually shaking a little. This wasn't a discussion. It was a decree. For a moment, I just stood there, pasta forgotten, heart hammering. What just happened? How is this okay? My first instinct was to shout, to follow her, to demand an explanation. But then a different kind of thought cut through the panic, a cold, hard resolve. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a massive red flag turning into a full-blown siren. Once I heard the shower running, I moved. Not like some action hero, more like someone trying to defuse a bomb on a timer. My breath was shallow. Suitcases from the top of the wardrobe, they were heavier than I remembered. I started throwing her stuff in. It wasn't neat. Clothes got crumpled. I nearly packed my own blue sweater before I caught myself. Toiletries. I hesitated at her expensive face wash, then just chucked it in. Is this too much? Am I being insane? The thought echoed, but the image of Justin lounging on my sofa in my space pushed me forward. It took nearly 3 hours, not 2. My back ached. I found stuff I didn't even know she had. I ended up with 3 suitcases, 2 bursting tote bags, and a miscellaneous pile of shoes. I definitely didn't get everything. Some things were mixed in with mine, and in my slightly panicked state, I knew I couldn't sort it all perfectly. I just focused on the obvious. The locksmith, I called 3 before I found one who could come out within a couple of hours on a weeknight. It cost more than I budgeted, surge pricing apparently. When he arrived, he gave me a skeptical look. You the primary resident, mate? I showed him my lease agreement on my phone, my ID. He grunted and got to work. It felt like an eternity. Her luggage sat by the door. I didn't want to text Justin immediately. My hands were still a bit shaky. How do I even have his number? Then I remembered, Stephanie had used my phone ages ago to call him when hers died, and his number was probably still buried in my contacts. Took me a good 5 minutes of scrolling and guessing. Found it under Justin X, her input, not mine. I dragged the bags out to the curb, felt exposed, like all my neighbors were watching, snapped a quick, blurry photo, sent it to him. Stephanie's apparently moving in with you. Her things are at my curb address. She seems to think you'll be thrilled. My heart was thudding. This was it. Then I went back inside, locked the new deadbolt, and sank onto the couch, the adrenaline finally hitting hard. It wasn't long before my phone started screaming. Stephanie the enraged voicemail, 1 byte wave. It was mostly just screaming. Stephanie the enraged missed call, 23 and counting. The enraged text. Brandon, WTF is this? My bags? On the street? Are you deranged? Stephanie the enraged text pickup. Now. Justin is freaking out. You can't do this. Deranged? I was the deranged one? I took a deep, ragged breath. This was gonna be a long night. Ada for this? Maybe. But for not wanting my girlfriend's ex as a surprise roommate? I don't think so. Update 1, approx 18 hours later. It's the next afternoon. I look like I've been wrestling badgers. Barely slept. The phone was relentless. So the curb delivery didn't go down well. Shocker. Stephanie showed up around 1:30 a.m., not just banging but kicking the door. Justin was with her, looking like he wanted the earth to swallow him. He kept trying to say something, probably to calm her, but she was a whirlwind of fury. Brandon, you let me in right now. This is my home too, you psycho. My voice shook a little when I spoke through the door, trying to sound firm. Stephanie, this is my apartment. It's on my lease. You decided Justin was moving in without any discussion. I didn't agree. Your belongings are with him now. Please leave. More shouting. Accusations of me being abusive, controlling, a monster. It stung, not gonna lie, even though I knew it was her deflecting. Justin finally managed to drag her away after maybe 20 minutes, but not before she shrieked that she'd be back with the police. I stayed up for another hour, jumpy at every sound, convinced she'd return. Her best friend Amanda called around 3 a.m. She sounded genuinely bewildered. Brandon? Steph just called me, absolutely hysterical. She said you threw all her stuff out and changed the locks. What happened? This isn't like you. I was exhausted, but I tried to lay it out. She told me yesterday evening her ex, Justin, was moving in with us. No discussion, just an announcement. I wasn't okay with that, Amanda. So yes, I packed her things. Amanda was quiet. Then she said Justin was moving in? Just told you? Pretty much. A long sigh. Okay, that's wow, Brandon. That's a really crappy move on her part. I get why you're upset, but throwing her out like that, it's harsh. She didn't fully condemn me, but she wasn't fully on my side either. Fair enough. This morning, the texts resumed. Demands for entry. She listed items she needed urgently. My expensive French press? It's a basic one I bought. My work laptop charger? I have a nasty feeling she's going to claim I'm sabotaging her job. The good teapot. And all my important documents. The documents worried me. I definitely hadn't seen a specific stash, but what if something vital was in a book I packed? I texted back, Stephanie, I packed what was clearly yours. If there are specific, genuinely essential items you believe are still here, send a detailed list through Justin. I will look for them when I have time, and if found, I can leave them in the building lobby for him to collect. You are not coming in. I had to block her number after that. The replies were getting vile. My paralegal buddy Dave, I called him this morning, not last night, in a panic. He was more cautious than I hoped. Look, man, she's not on the lease, so that's good for you. But self-help evictions can get sticky, even if it's your place and she pays no formal rent. She's been there 6 months. Someone vindictive could try to argue she established residency, make a fuss. Did she get mail there? Contribute to any bills, even informally? I confirmed she got mail there and occasionally bought groceries. Dave winced. It's probably fine, especially given she tried to move someone else in, but it's not zero risk. Document everything. Keep all texts. If she shows up with cops, be polite, show your lease, explain she was trying to move her ex in without consent, and that you've offered to return any essential personal items. He didn't make me feel nearly as secure as I'd hoped, just more stressed. Around lunchtime, Justin texted me, surprisingly polite. Stephanie is asking for a list of things. Can you let me know when you might be able to look? No apology, no acknowledgement of the mess he helped create, but at least it wasn't abusive. The entitlement is one thing, but the thought of legal trouble, however small the risk, is unnerving. And I know I didn't pack every single thing of hers. Some of her books are still on the shelf, mixed with mine. This is far from clean. Update 2, approx. 4 days later, it's been a few days of low-grade warfare. Stephanie hasn't tried breaking down the door again, but the pressure campaign is on. First, her sister, Rebecca, called. Her tone was pure disappointment, mixed with steel. Brandon, I am shocked. Truly. Stephanie is beside herself. She said you had some kind of breakdown. Threw her out with nothing. She's at Justin's, and it's a tiny place. She says he wasn't expecting her to actually live there just for a bit. What is going on? She mentioned something about her work laptop charger being held hostage. I tried to explain my side, the ex moving in, the lack of discussion. Rebecca listened, but I could tell she was filtering it through my poor sister lens. Brandon, even if there was a misunderstanding about Justin and Steph admits she handled that badly, your reaction was extreme. She's your girlfriend, and now she's saying you're withholding her things she needs for her job. That's just cruel. She wasn't buying my side easily. She suggested mediation. I politely declined. Then, the item list arrived via Justin. It was long. Beyond the charger and teapot, it included things like my share of the good olive oil, seriously, the blue vase from the living room, a gift to me from my aunt, and half the spice rack. An important mail she now claimed was missing. This was getting ridiculous. I spent an evening meticulously going through the apartment. I found some of her mail, junk mostly, but a couple of bank statements I'd put aside for her, her actual chipped teapot, and the sentimental throw blanket she'd mentioned before. I found a few more of her books. No sign of her work laptop charger, but I did find an old Universal one of mine. I packed these into a box. I texted Justin he could pick it up from the mailroom, and specifically stated which items were included and that her work charger wasn't there. The social media stuff started subtly. Vague sad posts from Stephanie about unexpected endings and trust being broken. Then a slightly more pointed one from one of her friends I barely know, about some men not being able to handle strong women making decisions. The big reveal, though, came from an unexpected source. One of my colleagues, Sarah, who knows Stephanie peripherally through some ancient college connection. Sarah cornered me by the coffee machine, looking awkward. "Hey Brandon, weird question, but is everything okay with you and Stephanie?" Only I heard something. My cousin is friends with Justin's old roommate, the one who just moved out. Apparently, Justin wasn't in a bind at all. His roommate moved out, and Justin was looking for someone to take over the room to save on rent. He'd been trying to convince Stephanie to move in with him for a while. My jaw nearly hit the floor. The lease fell through story was a complete fabrication. They weren't just planning for him to crash, they were potentially auditioning a new living arrangement. Or worse, Stephanie was planning to move in with him, and this was some bizarre, manipulative transition. This wasn't just entitlement. This was a calculated deception. That piece of information changed things. It hardened my resolve, but also made me feel sick. I screenshotted Sarah's follow-up text where she confirmed the details. She double-checked with her cousin, feeling bad for the awkwardness. I haven't shared this widely yet. I did forward Sarah's info, very neutrally to Amanda, just saying, "Thought you should know this context." Her reply was just, "Oh my God, seriously." She sounded floored. Stephanie is now trying to get mutual friends to pressure me to let her back in just to talk or get the rest of her essential things. The essential things list seems to grow daily. My head is spinning trying to keep track of her accusations and what's actually true. The stress is definitely getting to me. My sleep is shot and I'm living on coffee. Final update. Approximately 3 weeks later. It's been almost a month since OKGate. The dust is settling, but not in a neat, tidy way. Stephanie's campaign to paint me as the villain hit a major snag when the truth about Justin's apartment situation started to leak, primarily after Amanda confronted her. Amanda called me a few days after I sent her Sarah's info. She was angry at Stephanie. She lied to everyone, Brandon, about Justin's lease, about why she needed him to stay. She even tried to twist it to make it sound like you misunderstood. "I'm so sorry I even hesitated in believing you fully." Apparently, Stephanie had a meltdown when Amanda called her out. Rebecca, Stephanie's sister, has been harder to convince. After I sent her a very carefully worded email, attaching the screenshot from Sarah and a photo of the box of items I had returned, including Stephanie's actual teapot and the mail, she called me back. She was less accusatory, more conflicted. "Brandon, I don't know what to think. Stephanie is my sister. She's a mess. She swears you're twisting things, that Justin is confusing the story. But that evidence is hard to ignore." She didn't apologize, but she stopped demanding I let Stephanie back in. Last I heard from Amanda, Rebecca was trying to get Stephanie into therapy. Small mercies. Legally, nothing happened. My paralegal buddy Dave's cautious advice made me paranoid for a week, but Stephanie never actually called the police. Or if she did, they never showed up or contacted me. The threat was probably just that, a threat. The demands for her share of household items, olive oil, eventually petered out into sullen silence after I ignored a few emails sent via Justin. I did allow Justin one more supervised visit to the lobby to pick up another small box of books and knickknacks I'd found that were unequivocally hers, just to be done with it. It was awkward. He wouldn't make eye contact. The good teapot, my mother's, is still mine. Stephanie sent one last, long, rambling email, forwarded by Justin, as I still have her blocked, about how I'd destroyed her faith in relationships, how that teapot symbolized our future, news to me, and how I owed her compensation for emotional distress and relocation costs. I deleted it without replying. The fallout with Stephanie and Justin, from what Amanda has reluctantly shared, she's trying to distance herself from their drama. They are still living together, but it's apparently hellish. The lie they built their new arrangement on, coupled with the financial pressure, since the plan to use my place as a free ride failed, has made things incredibly tense. Justin, it seems, is not thrilled to be living with a hysterical Stephanie who blames him for half the mess. You reap what you sow, I guess. For me, it's been a process. I'm not just fine. The first week I was running on anger and adrenaline. The second week, I felt an immense wave of exhaustion and, honestly, sadness. It's a rotten feeling to realize someone you cared about could be that manipulative. I've had trouble focusing at work. My apartment felt weirdly empty for a while, and not in a good way. I found a forgotten t-shirt of hers under the bed last week and just felt tired. I'm slowly reclaiming my space. I moved the furniture around. I'm trying to get back into a normal routine. It's not a clean win. It's messy and it left scars. But the alternative, letting her walk all over me and move her ex into my home, that wasn't an option. So justice? It wasn't a triumphant, movie-ending moment. It was the slow, grinding consequence of their own actions. They made their choices, built on lies, and now they're living with the fallout. My revenge was just not participating in their delusion any longer and protecting my own sanity, however imperfectly. It's not a happy ending, but it's a real one, and I'm slowly, very slowly moving forward. Thanks for listening, Reddit. It helped to get this all out.